You're all welcome to episode 4 of the P S Gilmore Story. It's great to be back home again because for the last few days myself and my wife have been travelling around Italy and Pompeii and so on and so forth. And would you believe, when we were in Pompeii we even found the story for a future video of P S Gilmore, but more of that later. Following on the Gilmore story in Ballygar, I just want to point out something that I have that's very dear to me and very dear, in fact, to the Irish story. Ireland, as I said in the previous video, had this dreadful famine. 1 million people died here during those 10 years, and 2 million approximately emigrated to America. More died between the middle 1800s to the 1900s. So the figure is far larger than that eventually. But for a nation that loves music, for a nation who has always enjoyed performance and so on and so forth, we haven't got a lot, it would seem, to celebrate or to remember the famine. And Gilmore did something wonderful. In 1854, at the end of the Great Famine, he wrote 2 pieces of music I'm going to show you now. And these 2 pieces of music are very unusual because they're both written about Ballygar. They're both written about their family, his family in Ballygar, and they're both telling very much a biographical story about his life up to then and their family's story within Ballygar and afterwards, what was going to happen to them afterwards. So I'm going to show you these. The 2 pieces are called Good News from Home and Sad News from Home. And the 2 pieces were both composed in 1854. And both of them are stamped obviously down here, 1854. The interesting thing about the first issue, it seems, had both got lithographs, basically wood cut pictures, let's call it, as distinct from photographs, on the front. It was an expensive process used by newspapers chiefly. But in later issues, and these were issued, particularly the second one, Good News from Home, was issued all over the United States. It was issued into the United Kingdom. It was issued into Australia even. And you can find it in museums in Australia as well. So Gilmore would have been one of the multi-released composers of the day back in that time. However, one thing that's constant with Gilmore is he never makes money from his compositions, ever. He doesn't. He believes that music is a gift from God. What he terms is the divine gift, and so it's there for everyone to be enjoyed, and not for him to profit from such. The Sad News from Home, first of all, let's look at this firstly, refers to the death of his father. His father was Patrick, and here over the table we see a picture of a gentleman with a beard, which would have been fairly standard at that time. We don't know if that is Patrick or not. We can only presume that it is. There is Gilmore himself, rather discontently, looking at the letter on the table. The letter presumably is from home. And in the window we see that there's a ship in the harbour, and maybe this is a little bit of inspiration for him. What's he going to do next? At this stage, Gilmore, by the way, had come to Charlestown in Boston, and he had come there courtesy of his elder brother John, and we would also presume that Patrick would have forwarded the money to the family to make the trip. This piece of music is dedicated to some lady called Miss Maria Hall. We don't know who she is, haven't a clue, but it's obviously composed by P S Gilmore. The second piece is Good News from Home. Again, very same type and so on, very same structure. This one down here, however, is now dedicated to his mother. His mother is very close to him, and we see that throughout his life, even up to the day that his mother was been buried. He played, if I remember correctly, Nearer My God to Thee in the concert in New York. In this one here, he's a lot more upbeat. He's not as downbeat as here, but he's now standing with the many ships in the harbour, and this would be, of course, Boston Harbour at the time, sailing ships and so on. And just for a moment, while you look at those, I'm just going to read a couple of verses here. From the first one, Sad News from Home. Sad news from home for me, friends gather in gloom, friends who have joined in glee often in that cottage home. But oh, how changed that home is now. No longer joyful hearts are there. Within the tomb, that aged brow, that aged father's free from care. Verse 2. Lonely mother weeps, breaking heart in vain, mourning for him who sleeps, never to wake again. And oh, her loved ones by her side, so sadly gazing through tear, without father for their guide, can ne'er again feel happy here. Verse 3. Far, far away from home, far from my native land, oft will I sigh for home, sigh for each kindred hand, though I may never again behold the home and friends so dear. There is a heaven, we are told, where all that's good on earth shall be. And after that, and the depressed state that Gilmore seems to have been in, he writes the second one. And again, this is 1854, 168 years ago. Good news from home has come across the deep blue sea. From friends I have left in tears, from friends I have not seen for years. And since we have parted long ago, my life has been a scene of woe. But now a joyful hour has come for I have heard good news from home. Verse 2. No father's near to guide me now, no mother's tear to soothe my brow, no sister's voice falls on mine ear, nor brother's smile to give me cheer. But though I wander far away, my heart is full of joy today, for friends across the ocean's foam have sent to me good news. When shall I see that cottage door where I've spent years of joy before? 'Twas then I knew no grief or care. My heart was always happy there. Though I may never see it more, nor stand upon my native shore, where ere on earth I'm doomed to roam, my heart will be with those at home. So, in the first, we see how homesick he is, particularly in the final verse from the sad news from home. And he points out that his mother is in a pretty bad way because now her rock is gone as such. And in the second ballad, we now see mention of his mother, his sister, his brother. We have no indication as to how many brothers there, but we see that the family is very close because the sister talks to him, the smile from the brothers, etc. And obviously he dedicates the piece to his mother. So they're a close family. And but he's now happy in verse 3 because he knows they're all going to join him. And so basically that is an idea of those two pieces, and we will return in a few minutes, and thank you very much. And so to finish off this episode, we're going to have a little bit of music. Another scratchy little cylinder straight out of one of these little cans. I'm not quite sure what this is called, but at the very start, if I cue it up properly, you will hear the sound of Gilmore's band. So, if I don't get a chance to say to you already, click like and subscribe, and have a very happy St. Patrick's Day. By the way, there is no Patty in Ireland. There is no one other than Patrick and Paddy. All right? So St. Paddy's Day does not happen. All right, so here we go. Thank you. Click like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.